Good morning. Hi, Nancy and Stevie and Joanne. How are you? How are you doing today in another sunny, beautiful day? Let me know what's going on. So I have a question. My question is, how are you feeling in your body? So I know for me, maybe in my 40s is when the word aches and pains probably was a little bit more profound. That kind of, I think, is when a lot of that happens. So I want you to think about your body and where are you in terms of daily issues like pain? Is it a little challenging to get up in the morning and start going? Um, do you have issues when you bend down to get things? So are you having issues with flexion, mostly noted in the knee joint? Yet it actually the hip is a big part of that too. I don't think it's not as noticeable for us that the hip gets cranky as we age. It's not as noticeable for us. We notice our knees a lot more often and issues in the knees. And that is the biggest joint in the body, the number one weight bearing. Yet that is an issue, but I think even more so is the issue of losing hip flexion or hip mobility that starts to lead to a lot of other things that happen. So my question to you ladies, because I see ladies here, is I want you to think about that. I want you to think about when you wake up daily, is it a little harder in the beginning to get started? Do you end up getting more warmed up in your body throughout the day? So that's one thing. And so it will be, global how you're feeling. And then I want you to think about your joints and how do they feel? Because that is a big factor in why we're doing what we're doing and the way we feel as we're aging. And so I'm just wondering if anyone wants to answer that, and not specific to, oh, my back this or my knee this, not like that one big issue that maybe you have or not, hopefully, but really like globally, you as a moving being, you in this body that you're living in, how do you feel about your body? So that's a good question to ask ourselves, I think. So if anybody would want to share, that's fine. And if not, it's really a self-inquiry question. All right. So I'm going to go back and I won't be able to see from there. Or it's not that I can't see. I mean, it is that I can't see. I really can't read, but I also can't communicate. So for me, it's about being able to be interactive from this position. All right. Okay. So last night I was at a concert, and I go to these concerts and I dance and go crazy at concerts, and I choose to go see people that I like and I dance and I do crazy. I constantly am moving, or I even honestly bounce up and down. So that is one of the things that kind of the modern music, whenever the beat gets quick with it, they say bounce. And it is a bouncing up and down, kind of like if you're on a pogo stick. And so last night, and often, yes, I'm dancing, I love it, and it's for that pleasure, but it's also for maintenance of my body. And so last night when I was dancing, I was thinking, jumping is good for bones. And I was thinking about that. The thing is, there is a fine line there. So when we want to strengthen our joints, when we want to keep them flexible, good range of motion, and strong, we have to do that appropriately. So bouncing, jumping can actually be really good for bones, yet too much can be damaging. So when I was training in yoga for osteoporosis with Dr. Fishman, he said that as we age, that running is not great for joints because of the pounding. He said it's terrible for hips to have all that pounding in the hip joint. Yet there is this sweet spot of what we do. When we're practicing yoga and we're doing stretches, we are stretching the tendons of the ends of the muscle that attach onto the bones. And we're also stretching ligaments, which are holding bones to bones. So we have to be careful that we always find the sweet spot. And that's where pain and suffering happens, really, is in the layer of the joints. And so much of what we're going to do is going to free that up. But I want you to think about your body. I want you to think about where you are at this stage in your life. And would you say that every day you have a pain all over, pain in one place? Do you have one area that is your issue? Is it showing up in one or two areas? And then do you have areas in the morning? Are you tight in the morning, kind of like the oil man or the tin man, actually, in The Wizard of Oz? And then you are able to find that fluidity in your body throughout the day. So osteoarthritis is a part of aging, and osteoarthritis is identified where the morning you're a little more stiff in your joints, and then throughout the day, or when you bring movement in and you get lubrication, you're able to get it to move. And part of that is we bring in lubricating fluids. We secrete the lubrication, the synovial fluid in the joints. And the other aspect is that the cobwebs of arthritis, calcium, and other minerals that are arthritic deposits, are hanging out there. Calcium happens to be a very jagged mineral, so it's painful. And when we start to move our body, we push those minerals back into the system, and then your body can manage them, hopefully take them back to the bones where they are stored, 99%. Or if it's other stuff, maybe metabolized, peed, pooped, sweat, or breathed out of you. Those are the pathways of elimination. So this practice that we're going to do, that we should do on a daily basis, is to keep everything flowing, is to keep everything moving, and is to send things back to where they belong, either minerals to the bones or things out of the body into the circulatory system to be picked up by the kidneys, the colon, the lungs, or the skin. And so I want you to think about yourself, your body, where you are. What's your level of pain or discomfort on a daily basis? Is it more in the morning when you wake up and then it dissipates throughout the day? Do you have a specific area that needs attention? And everything is connected. So any movement, you might have some low back issues, yet your issues may be in your heels or your feet. So releasing tension and tightness and stress from different areas of the body can actually help our entire body feel better. So just some things for you to think about when you're on a daily basis with how you show up. And so in this concert that I was in last night, I also look at a lot of bodies and I watch people walk. I can't help it. I watch them walk. I look at their feet. I look at whether they're pronating, whether their ankles are turning in, are their knees going in towards each other. I watch people waddle and move away from discomfort in a joint, because that was me in my late 40s. And I know what that's like. So you're here today to take care of your mind, to take care of your body, to release stress wherever it is, in your mind, in your body, to learn, to experience, to expand. Anything that you do is great. It doesn't matter how hard, how gentle you approach your practice. The fact that you're practicing is what matters. And so let's begin. Let's work on a healthy aging practice today, trying to uncover where we may have stressors and then releasing them from our body and then also from our mind. So for today's practice, I'm going to set up like this. It's up to you how you want to approach your practice. So we will need a strap and a block and a blanket at a minimum for the practice today. And then I have some extra props I wanted to bring to it today. So I am going to begin with an elevation, so a chest expansion, so that I could stretch across my chest, add a supported back bend. And I'm going to do it elevated because for the days that you're not quite either physically able to go flat or mentally able to slow down to come into breath work and meditation and all of those aspects of the practice, it might be a little bit better to have an elevation in your body. So this is the way I'm going to set up. You do what you'd like to do. You could get some blankets or some pillows and elevate yourself today so that you're in a more elevated position to begin. I think that having blankets makes it a little nice. There's something about it, like sitting on blankets and touching blankets. There's just something so nice about that for me. Like it does something to me from a self-care perspective. So this is a version of a posture, or I guess a posture. We call them all postures because you're putting your body into a shape or supporting it in shape. So this will be Supta Baddha Konasana if you keep your soles of your feet together. So it's kind of a variation of that. Supported back bend and nice restorative posture. So coming down onto whatever you'd like. You could have props underneath your heart area or underneath your spine. This will be a little bit more stretch on the shoulders. So if you did have shoulder issues, you may have to have your arms a little lower. And then having the knees bent, feet flat, or the legs straight, or you could come into the Baddha Konasana version where you put the soles of the feet together and you let the knees go out to the side. So you choose. Feet on the floor, knees up towards the sky, legs are straight, or Baddha Konasana. This is going to open up the hip joint. A lot of lymphatic nodes are on the inner thigh area. This really opens up the pathway of the circulatory system and the lymphatic system down to the feet. So choose what feels appropriate for you. The block behind the bolster is right where the most bones are, which is the shoulder blades, clavicle bones. So make sure if you have a block, it's not just at your head. It's mostly supporting the clavicle bone area, the upper chest, so that you don't collapse and cave in on your heart. Arms are to the sides. Feet are together or on the floor or legs are straight. You decide. And once you can get yourself into a position, close your eyes and begin to go inward, noticing your body, noticing where there may be tension. And begin by moving your head side to side. So releasing any tension in the neck. Bring yourself back. Eyes are closed, noticing where the tension is. Direct your breath there. And close your mouth, breathing in and out through the nose. Let your body relax with each exhale. Mouth closed, breathing in and out through your nose. Directing your breath to wherever you feel the tension. And if at any time you want to switch positions, it's your practice, your body. So I'd like to count a rectangle breath. This gives the mind something to do. You could visualize the shape of a rectangle. This is a great breath to learn on the mat, to take it off the mat. You could do this when you're walking around. You could do this whenever you need to bring yourself to the present moment. focusing on counting your breath. So we'll count a 4 on the inhale, 2 to hold, 4 exhale, 2 to hold. And then I'm going to move up to the 6-3, 6-3. So you could visualize the sides of the rectangle as you count, keeping your mind busy with counting, busy with visualization, bringing your awareness to the conscious brain, getting involved, becoming very present moment. Mouth is closed. Exhale, and let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Adding on, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3. Continue on your own, choosing the appropriate number. Visualize, be in your awareness with counting. Stay with your breath, stay with counting, stay with the visualization of a rectangle. Management of stress, management of blood sugar, present moment. Get involved with your biochemistry through breath. This is where you can have an effect on what happens deep inside. And wherever you are, finish this breath. 3 more breaths like this, visualizing a rectangle and counting. Stay with your breath, stay with counting. Letting the breath go back to your body. Still pay attention to your breath. The breath is the connector between the body and the mind. Feel your breath moving in your body. And bringing your awareness to your fingers and your toes. Begin to move your fingers and your toes. Eyes are closed. And bending your knees. You're going to come onto your side, so you could come all the way down onto the ground, or if you're pretty elevated in a bolster, you could stay at this half elevated level. And then you're going to bring yourself up. So the breath is the opportunity to start to get involved with your internal workings, your respiratory system. It's the only system that we can actually take control of. We cannot change our cardiovascular system, our digestive system, our endocrine system. We can't actually at that moment take care of them or take control. Yet when we use the breath, it actually has the effect to regulate many of the systems. And when you do regulate breath, you're actually communicating to the nervous system that the coast is clear. And so this body's always trying to keep us safe. And when we can convey safety, that moment, healing can happen. The body cannot heal or repair in a state of stress. And chronic low-grade stress exists for all of us. So when you intentionally come to the present moment, take charge of your breath, that breath work is called Savitri Pranayama, and it's a rectangular breath. And there's actually different, the ratio of breath, 4-2, 6-3, 8-4, 10-5. There's actually deeper aspects to that if you wanted to look into it, Savitri Pranayama, what they correlate with in terms of what we're able to manage and control internally. So Savitri Pranayama, add that to the toolbox. The partial elevation of the body from the floor can help to stretch the chest and the postural muscles and open up and make you more receptive to breath. So there's an intention behind so much of what we do in this practice. We are going to begin today in a seated position, because in a seated position, you can actually use weight to start to stretch joints. This is stretching low back, and stretching hip joint and pelvic area, inner thighs. And it can be uncomfortable for those of you that do have issues, a lot of tightness in the low back, tightness in the hips. So the more elevated and supported you are, the less discomfort, and you can still get the effectiveness of the weight-bearing aspect of stretching and bringing in more space into your body. So I do have a bolster here. I think I'll actually use it for this. And if you don't have a bolster, you could use pillows, or you could take your blanket and fold it up quite a bit, like in fourths. So I'll actually take my bolster here. The block and the strap we're gonna need those. If you did have a hip issue, when I had my hip issues, I needed a block for this whenever I would sit like this, because my hip that was my issue, my left, I needed to support the weight of the leg, because the seated position actually opens up the hip joint. So come to sit on something elevated, or onto the ground. I mean, when you're in India, they're not giving you props. You are seated in a Sukhasana, easy seat position on the ground. And we're like that often. And that's why we do a lot of these postures, is to open up the body to be able to sit upright. Because when you are upright, your lungs have the ability to move in full range of motion, forward, backwards, side to side, and top to bottom. So the goal, from a breath perspective, from a meditation, from a mind-body perspective, from a stress management perspective, is to have this seated position and to be able to do it. And so we want this physical practice to help get our body strong enough and open enough for this. So find your seat. It could be in a chair. It could be in a chair, it could be on the ground. If you do come onto the floor or bolster, reach down and grab the flesh so that you're really helping to get that long spine to come into your body. And then coming into a crisscross leg position. Take your hands on your thighs. Let's begin with some circles, moving around in a circle pattern. Let's go clockwise at first. So you're going to do a clockwise pattern and try to keep your torso nice and tall. Visualize your spine as a wooden spoon in a cauldron, stirring up the soup, so that you're not bending your body. You're keeping your spine nice and tall and long, and you're rotating the upper torso independently from the lower part of your body. This is where that low back and hip joint stretching takes place. Slow circles in a clockwise position. If you'd like to close your eyes, close your eyes. Feel your body, feel where that stretching comes in. And then start to go a little bit bigger. So you go forward more, to the sides more, back more, and to the side. And use your hands on your thighs to help push down to be tall and to help support the weight as you go into different areas. Forward, sides, backward, side. And then slow down and go with breath. Inhale when you're forward. Exhale when your body goes back. And explore this. Explore how nice it can feel for the low back and the hip. Bolster yourself or put blocks or blankets rolled up if you need. And then take one more circle in this direction. Bring yourself back to center. Find length in your spine. Close your eyes. And we're going to go into the other direction. So start to go in counterclockwise circles. Go slow at first. Let your awareness be in your pelvis. Let your awareness be down where you feel the weight. Keep moving your body, closing your eyes, feeling. And then start to go a little bigger, using your hands on your thighs so that you can actually push and get space in your spine and feel the stretching. A lot of hip, a lot of posterior hip, side body, back body. Feel what feels appropriate for you. You're not quite at the full circle yet, but you're getting there. Feel your body stretch, and then slow down and start to match the breath with the movement. You inhale when you come forward. You exhale when you go backwards. Feel your body, and especially for those of you that do have knee, hip, or back issues, because those muscles and those joints are going to be affected by this. Noticing what you notice, staying in the place of healing and making this therapeutic for your body. And let's take 2 more circles as big as you can. Eyes are closed, feeling the body weight, feeling the stretching. And then bring yourself back to center. If your eyes are closed, go ahead and open your eyes. So we had a little guest join us. He was meowing. I don't know if you heard him. This is Hamilton. And it's so interesting. I know that many of you at home practicing, when you practice, your animals come. There's something about when we practice yoga, something about when we calm down, when we bring ourselves to the present moment, that it seems to be that animals are so in tune with that. So I teach so many classes now at home, and I'm on Zoom, so I could actually see a lot of people. I work privately with people, and it's just amazing to me how often the cats and the dogs come and join the practice. It's really, really amazing. Okay, so I'd like you to look down. So those were called Sufi grinds. And you know the movie Avatar, I was just rewatching Avatar because the second one is coming out soon. And when they sit around the tree, which is like their Mother Earth tree, it is their, source of inspiration and of life. They're all sitting around, and when they're trying to ask, they're all sitting and they're all doing a Sufi grind. All the characters, they're all intertwined with their arms like this, and they're all doing the Sufi grind. And the cool thing about them having their arms up like this is that it keeps that nice elevation in the spine and not collapsing and doing a circle. All right, so look down to see what foot is in front, what leg is in front, if you have a crisscross leg position, and then take your legs straight. So remember which leg, actually put your one hand on the leg that was in front so you'll know, so you remember, because it's so crazy how quickly we could forget. So what leg was in front? And then coming into the crisscross leg position, bring that leg to the back and the other leg to the front now. Readjusting yourself if you need. Coming into spinal movement. So now we're going to actually bend our spine. We're going to come into extension, lifting your heart, bending your spine, letting your elbows go as far back as possible, sliding your hands on your thighs. That'll help to give you this position. And then you want to come forward into flexion. So if you have osteoporosis, you're going to go back to neutral. And even osteopenia, go back to neutral. If you know you don't have osteoporosis, you could bring that flexion into the entire spine, stretching the back of your vertebra, pushing your tailbone down, belly button to spine, still long in your spine, chin to chest, hands hold onto your thighs to get the stretch in the back of the body. Inhaling into extension, stretching the front of the body, front of the spine. Exhale into flexion, stretching the back. Stretching the low back and the neck if you have osteoporosis, not collapsing, not pushing lower ribs down, not letting any shortening coming into this part of your body. Don't let this shorten, which is what happens in flexion. And that's what can lead to spinal wedge fractures if you have osteoporosis. So being very aware of that. Exhale to come into flexion, inhale to come into extension, one more in each direction. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's come into the lateral side to side. This can be really yummy. You can put your hand in your bolster and do it. You could use the elbow if the shoulder is not happy to do a full extended arm. You could go to the side depending on what you're on. Try to keep this be a side bend. It's not about how far over you go. So keep it in your body as a side bend. Now this is actually a really nice movement, and this is great for low back. If you want to start to go a little deeper, letting the arm that's going down bend, try that. And then one more each side. A little longer with this one because honestly, this one is pretty yummy. And then bring yourself back to center. Sit nice and tall. We're going to go into rotation. This is important. So let's do the neck first, letting your neck go side to side. You could let your chest go as well if you'd like. Keep your heart elevated. And then bring yourself back to center. So we're going to go into a twist. You take one hand on the leg, the other hand behind you, or you could bring your arm across, making sure you don't collapse your spine. So whatever the twist is for you, hand could be on the bolster or on the block behind you, hand on your leg, pushing down, getting nice and tall, and then adding that rotational force. Breathing down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself to the other side. So rotation can be really therapeutic for the spine and actually a great way to create spine strength. But for those with low back issues, you got to be really careful here when you do this. So be really careful that you're lengthened, your heart is lifted, and then you add that rotation. Push down and get tall. And then go into the rotation, feel it in your body, stay in the place that's appropriate for you. And if you breathe down with your belly, you may feel some more stretching taking place in the pelvic area. Front of the hips, belly. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself forward. Take your legs long. Take your legs straight. So have your legs straight, be a little bit wider than hip distance. So you want to bring some movement into the feet. So let's inhale strongly to point. Take your hands on your bolster or beside you so that you could be nice and supported. Elbows behind you so that your elbows are going to help to support posture. You're going to inhale straight, exhale flex. Inhale straight, exhale flex. Now do this so that you actually feel the movement. When you inhale, you feel the tops of your feet stretch. When you flex, you feel the back of the calf area and the legs. Inhale and exhale. You want to go out? Okay, I'm going to let him out. That's why he comes here. It's not just to get love. Inhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now come to a little wider. You're going to inhale, let your pinky toes go towards the ground, and then exhale to bring the big toes towards each other. This is a hip joint movement. Make sure you're supporting your upper body. Inhale and exhale. And then bring the soles of the feet together, inner thighs, tall spine, more hip joint stretching. And then let's come out of that. So let's move the props get the blanket, fold your blanket so you can bring your knees on your blanket. So come onto all fours, spread your hands a lot. The wrist joints really need a lot of attention. We need to strengthen them and we need to add this bend to them. So coming into all fours, can you put your hand right underneath your shoulders? Spread your fingers, let your pointer fingers be forward. And let your body weight go forward and then let your body weight go back. So moving forward and backwards is to move the weight from the shoulders to the hips. So pay attention to what feels appropriate for you doing this. Push your fingers in. Don't avoid something. Try to do what you can do in your range of motion. And then bring yourself back, bring yourself up. So don't stop using your wrists because they're uncomfortable or your fingers. Try to use them in the way that feels appropriate. Try to get a little bit more movement in here. And then bring yourself back onto all fours. Let's come on to fists for wrists. So actually bend your bend your fingers so you're not bending your wrist anymore. It's called fists for wrist. See how that feels. Let's come into extension, cow pose, and then flexion in the low back if you have osteoporosis, in the whole spine if you don't. Inhaling and exhale. So we're stretching the back of the body in flexion. Only do this in the lumbar spine with osteoporosis. We're stretching the front of the spine and the belly area in cow or extension. Try to be as long as you could be from tailbone to the crown of the head, so that as you move, you're stretching the entire back spine or the entire front spine. Bring yourself back to neutral. Bring yourself all the way up. Open up your hands. Stretching your hands. Let's stretch the wrists here. Bending your wrist, so try to keep your arm straight as you bend your wrist this way, and then bend your wrist this way. Bending and straightening, maybe holding or maybe moving into it, depending on how you feel. And shake your wrists. So we're going to come into a posture, a spinal extension. We're going to move in and out and we're going to hold it. Spinal extension is great for strengthening the spine, strengthening postural muscles. We're also doing some weight bearing in the hip joint because we're weight bearing in our hips, and then we're weight bearing in the shoulders. So the wrists here can get in the way for some of you. Having a wedge or something to minimize the amount of bend that happens in your wrist will be helpful. And then working up, hopefully, to getting more. In my 30s, when I started practicing yoga, I had a lot of trouble bending my wrists because it wasn't something I did often. And so it is something you can achieve, you can gain in your body. Flexibility, range of motion. So come so that your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Your knees are directly underneath your hips. And then let's slide the left hand away and the right leg. Exhale. And then inhale, coming into extension, really bending your spine, lifting your arm, lifting your leg. Look forward. Feel that length in the whole front of your body from the tip of the fingers to the toes. And then we're going to exhale. We're going to draw the knee to the elbow. If you have osteoporosis, don't bring your elbow to your knee. Bring your knee to your heart. If you don't have osteoporosis, you can add that flexion and bring the knee to touch the elbow. Inhale to straighten. Exhale. Either knee stops at the belly with osteoporosis, or you touch elbow to knee if you don't have osteoporosis. Even osteopenia, I would be very aware. Keep your head lifted here. Exhale, knee to elbow. Really extend when you come to that extension. Balance, strength, flexibility. Stay out here on this one. Look forward. Look high. You're not looking down at the ground. You're looking up. So you're strengthening your upper back and neck. You may feel the tension there. Really long. And then bring yourself down. You may feel that in your low back. You may feel that in the belly stretching. Let's bring the right hand out, the left leg. Exhale. Inhale, come into the stretch position. Look forward. Really reach the right hand and the left leg away from you. So be as long as you can be diagonally in your body. Stretch your tissues. Push your left fingertips into the ground to help disperse the weight in that hand. Inhale. And then exhale. Knee to belly with osteoporosis or osteopenia. If no bone issues, right elbow to left knee. Get this diagonal chain memory in your body. This is the postural back chain of the body, diagonal. Left lower, right upper. Balancing in the right hip. Push the left fingers into the ground. Look forward when you come forward. Really ingrain this proper function in your body. One more with movement. And then come and hold. Stay here, look up, long. Really reach that left leg away, reach that right arm away. Take one more breath. And then let's stretch our spine, stretch our body. Take your legs wide, hands wide, bringing your belly closer to your thighs. Bring your forehead to the ground, or you can put a block there if you need. Catch your breath, lengthen your spine. Tushy is in the air. This is puppy dog. You're not bending your spine is long. You can bring your hands closer together if that feels okay for your body, or keep them wide. Catch your breath. Take one more breath. Bring yourself up. Bring yourself out. Pay attention to how you're feeling. If you could bend your toes and sit on your toes like this, try that. Trying to keep as much range of motion in your body everywhere. Notice how your upper body feels. Shoulders are forward, up and back and down. Strengthening the upper body. Strengthening the spine. Posture. So we're going to come into a bigger body stretch of front and back. See how this is for you. You're going to take your hands pretty wide and then begin to bring your pelvis towards the ground and bring it back up. And come all the way back. Either forehead touches or move somewhere in the range of motion in your hip that feels appropriate. Stretch your entire front. Let your head go up. Lengthen your spine. Forehead touches if it can. Close your eyes. Feel this movement in your hip joint. One more. yourself up. So taking a break, you could stay up here if your knees are not happy bending, or you could sit on your heels, or you could take your block, put your block in between your tushy and your heels, or on the ground in between the heels, whatever feels appropriate. A resting position. So where can you rest to catch your breath? Close your eyes. Bringing in tension and stress as you go to end range of motion in your joints. Stretching, releasing. Bring your awareness to your breath. Keep your mouth closed. Slow down your heart rate. Respiratory system will have an effect on cardiovascular system. Bring your awareness to your eyes. Blink them open. Let's move on to keeping your blanket where it is. So it's either in the center of the mat or slightly towards the bottom of the mat. Let's take the block. We're going to come into a dolphin or forearm plank. This is a lot of core work. Taking the block like this. So we want to activate the muscles here in the body. We want to bring the pubis bone up towards the belly button, lower ribs back towards the spine. So you don't actually flex your body, but you turn on those deep flexors. So it does do a little bit of pelvic movement when you do this, pulling the pubis bone up towards the belly button, activating the deep core muscles. So we're on the ground, we'll use our elbows to pull towards our knees and get that activation to take place. So take your block like this so you can be in a nice supported position. Come to the end of the blanket with your knees. And then keep your head lifted as you bring yourself forward. Keep yourself looking until you get to where your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Keep the knees on the floor at first. So flatten the toes into the ground. Push the knees and the feet into the ground and then try to drag them up towards your elbows slowly. See how that activates those deep core muscles. Pushing the belly button up towards the spine to try to flatten out the lower back. And then press your forehand, your elbows into the ground, and now drag your elbows back towards your knees. Really deeply turn yourself on in your core. Don't let your head hang. Keep it held up with the muscles of the upper back and neck. If you'd like to flip your toes under, lift your knees off the floor for 3 breaths. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. So either toes are pulling towards elbows, elbows towards toes, or knees towards toes, or knees towards elbows. And then you're going to bring yourself down. Lock off to the side. Bring your pelvis back onto the blanket. Make sure your pelvis is on the blanket. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. Hands are spread. Push your hands into the floor. Push your forearms into the floor. Push your elbows into the floor. Let your legs go a little wide if your low back is not happy here. Then push the pubis bone into the floor. That'll help to actually add a little posterior tilt to your pelvis, maybe taking some of the tension out of the low back for some of you. Push your hands down, push your forearms, and now push your rib cage forward and push away from the ground with your hands. Feel a stretch in the front of the belly. Push the pubis bone towards the ground to help with the low back. Legs can be spread pretty wide here to take away low back tension. This is called Sphinx. Breathe down to your belly. See if you can push your belly towards the ground. Push away from the ground. Heart pushing forward. Exhale. Inhale to look over a shoulder, towards one foot. Either the eyes are open or closed when you do this. Keep your head lifted. You inhale to look, you exhale back. And then bring yourself back. Bring your legs back to a neutral. Push your hands into the ground. Lengthen your spine as you bring yourself down. Take your elbows out to the side. One hand on top of the other. Long spine. Tip of the nose down towards the ground. And rest your forehead on top of the back of your hands. Let your body go. Breathe down to your low belly here, and this will help to relax low back tension. So breathe to the belly. Walk your feet so that your big toes touch. Push your feet into the floor strongly. Push your pubis bone into the ground strongly. Try to level out the low back so it's not a deep curve by pressing the pubic bone towards the ground, tailbone pointing down between the two heels. Take an exhale. As you inhale, press your arms into the ground, both of them, right by the elbows. Lift your body up and away, and then exhale to lower. Feel the ribs, feel the spine. Push away from the ground, lengthen your spine so head reaches away from you and up. One more. And bring yourself back. Take your forehead to the ground. Arms are out to the side. Elbows are coming off the shoulders. Palms are spread. Fingers are pressing towards the ground. Let the forehead touch the ground. Exhale. Imagine you're pushing a marble away with your nose. Push the marble away. Push your hands into the ground and lift your body off the ground. Exhale to lower. So turning on the erector muscle group slowly. Forehead touches. As you inhale, pushing a marble away with your nose, lengthening your spine and lifting away from the ground. See if you can feel those muscles slowly turn on, the erector muscle group from the pelvis all the way up the sides of the spine. Be involved in the pelvis, pushing the pubic bone towards the ground, even if it limits how high you get. Protect your low back. And then bring yourself down. Take your hands so that the thumb is on the mat. The fingers are spread away from the mat. The elbows are alongside your body, pulling the elbows towards you. So they're not straight up to the sky or out to the sides. Push your hands into the ground. Slide your elbows towards you, shoulder blades towards each other. Big toes touch. Pubic bone presses into the ground. Exhale. As you inhale, push the marble away with your nose. Push into the ground. Come up a little higher, bend your body, exhale to lower. Feel the front of your body stretch when you do this. Close your eyes. Inhale to lift. Exhale. One more, big range of motion. And then bring yourself down. Fold your hands one on top of the other. Take your legs wide as your mat. Bend your knees. Let your knees flop side to side to take tension out of the low back. Feel your body, feel what you're doing. And then bring yourself to a neutral position, and then come onto your side. Reach one hand away. Come onto your side. Stay here for a second. Close your eyes. Check in with your body. See how you're feeling. A lot of big movement, moving things through the system. So getting arthritis to move around, getting those hard minerals like calcium, which is a jagged mineral, to move through the system to hopefully be delivered back to your bones. Take your hand on the mat, pushing up to a seated position. So always checking in throughout the practice to make sure what you're doing is appropriate, especially when we use weight bearing for some of these bigger movements. So we're weight bearing on our wrists, we're weight bearing in our hips and our shoulders, and then we're adding that big stretching to the body through some of those movements. So making sure that you stay in the safety zone. Have your strap handy, blanket up to the top of the mat. Reach your hand away and bring yourself down onto the mat, onto your back. Arrange yourself so that the blanket is only on your head, not on your upper body. And if you'd like to fold it a little bit more here, you could. The least amount you fold it, then you're allowing gravity to help here with some posture. So let's get some freedom in the shoulders here. Take your knees are bent, feet are flat. Let's inhale to bring the arms overhead. Exhale to draw the elbows down towards the waist. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And then coming into a fully stretched position, go slow, see what your body has to give. Pointing your toes, reaching with your fingers. Feel that stretch in the belly area. That's an area that gets tight for us, especially if we sit a lot. So stretching your body here. Inhale, and then exhale, bend. Get your strap. Let's bring the left foot in and take the strap on the left arch. Holding onto the strap, left side of the strap in the left hand, right in the right. You could have your knee bent here. I want your leg to stay really completely stationary as we stretch our ankle joint. So working on fall prevention or injury prevention, strengthening balance, strengthening the communication from the feet to the brain, which establishes joint coordination and alignment, which is important for so many things. You're bending your ankle, so you're not moving your leg. It's only the foot that's bending side to side. Pull on the strap in the right hand, which pushes into the arch, and the foot bends and you stretch the ankle, the left ankle. You'll feel that on the side. Stay here. Your kneecap is pointing straight back. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the leg back towards the wall behind you so you feel tension going in the back of your leg. Any stretch is a good stretch. And then let's release. Bring the right foot up into the strap. You've got the right hand in the right strap, left hand in the left. You're going to start to do this side to side movement here, feeling that in your right ankle. And then pulling on the strap that's in the left hand. So the foot is bending to the left, the kneecap is pointing straight back. You feel the stretch down the right side of the leg.
then bring your foot back up to center. Let's take the strap, direct the leg back so you feel a stretch behind your thigh. Kneecap pointing back, toes pointing back. And then go ahead and release. Hands on belly, close your eyes. Notice what you notice. So let's end the practice with bridge. Structurally getting nice alignment, pushing away from the floor, strengthening the back of the body. I find this to be some of the most beneficial movements we could do in the practice of yoga physically, because this helps to strengthen the back of your body, which is going to help support your low back, your hips, and your knees, which are big areas of issues in our tissues as we age. So take your strap and loop your strap if you can, or tie it if you can't loop it. Then bring your feet through the strap so the strap comes to the top of your thighs. And when you move your legs apart, the distance between your knees or your upper legs is about a fist distance. So you make a fist, it's only that distance. Don't make it any wider than that. Try to be hip joint really anatomically aligned here. And push your arms into the ground as you get more narrow across the top, sliding the shoulder blades towards the center of your body. Let's take the blanket away from the back of the head. Take the legs away from your body at first. Arms are alongside your body. Lengthen your neck, chin to your chest, close your eyes. Pushing out on your strap, tilt your pelvis backwards so your low back touches the ground. Exhale. And then as you inhale, slowly peel your spine up and away. Legs are away from your body. You may only get to your heart. Exhale, place the spine down on the ground. Go really slow here. Close your eyes. Rock all the way to your tailbone. Low back is off the ground. The tushy is on the ground. And then you begin by pressing the low back into the ground, inhaling, peeling your spine up and away. Feel that undulation in your spine. Feel that action in your legs. One more. Come up and stay up for 3 breaths. Long neck. You're only lifted off to about your heart. Push your feet into the floor. Push out on the strap. Feel the tension in the glutes, tension in the hamstrings. Feel the low back being involved. And on your next exhale, slowly place your body back down onto the ground. Bring your feet back closer to your body. Tilt your pelvis back, exhale. Inhale to peel your spine up. Now you go a little higher all the way to the upper back. Not to the head and neck, only to the back. Exhale to lower. On this next one, you're going to come up, you're going to stay up for 3 breaths. And on your next exhale, slowly bringing yourself down. Bring your blanket back by your head. Take your strap off. Bring your knees into your chest. It's time to come into Shavasana. If you'd like to get a bolster to put underneath your legs or come into a regular Shavasana, choose something that's appropriate for you. And come into your Shavasana.
So doing whatever is appropriate for you, making yourself comfortable, letting all that was practiced today sink into your body. Stay with your breath, stay present moment. Allow everything to integrate. The breath connects the mind and the body. Stay here. Deepen your breath. Let your awareness go into your body, noticing your joints, your heart, your low back, upper back, neck. Checking in with how you're feeling. And begin to bring movement to the hands, the feet. Drawing the knees in to your chest. Coming onto your side.
pushing away from the ground to come to seated.
Closing your eyes. Bring your hands to your heart and you press your hands to the heart to the hands, long spine. Use sound to relax the body, relax the mind. Gentle hum. Take a big exhale. Inhale. Bowing. Gratitude, namaste. Thank you. So as always, whenever you practice, making sure that it's appropriate physically and also energetically, that you don't do too much that fatigues you after the practice, but rather energizes you after the practice and for the rest of the day. All right. Oh, so I feel pretty good. I'm hoping that that's the case for you all. And I would say that during the practice, there's definitely times of tension for me. So it's not that it's easy. There's times where I'm working pretty challenging myself and feeling the stretch in my low back area. So hopefully you stayed in a nice, appropriate place. So happy to have you here, Joanne. Happy you're here today. Yeah, grateful for your mobility. That's so true, Stevie. 80-year-old body. That's amazing, right? That's what we want. We want to feel good in our body regardless of how old it is or what number that is. Yet we want it to be this way forever. And that's what it should be. Living as long and healthfully as possible. That's the goal. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. We have one more week that we'll be together live, and then we'll be off for the holidays. So I will see you next Saturday or any other day next week that I teach. I have 5 classes that I'm teaching next week for the last 5 of 2022. So join me and stay happy and healthy. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it was great for you, Stevie. It felt really good in my body as well. All right, ladies and men, if you're out there. All right, bye-bye.